I'm Sue Moxley and today I'm going to show you how to contour your face. Okay, so this is Yasmin and Yasmin looks amazing without makeup, but I'm going to contour her today. I'm going all over her face with the foundation, which is the same colour as her skin. I always bring foundation under the chin and down the neck. There is absolutely nothing worse than seeing one of those weird lines where the foundation has stopped and you've got like an orange head and a white neck. The idea is that you use a shade 2 shades lighter to highlight and 2 shades darker to shade. With the lighter colour, you are attracting to the eye. With the darker colour, you are distracting from the eye. I'm going to find a shade that's about 2 shades lighter. So I'm going to try this one. I am going to apply it with my foundation brush. There you go, so this is perfect for Yasmin. 2 shades lighter, and I make like a triangle under the eye. So this is going to disguise any bags or dark circles. But it's also going to attract her eyes and the centre of her face. The other area that is great to highlight is the middle of the forehead here. Now, the reason we do this, if someone has a really high forehead, we can bring the forehead down by attracting this area with the light and with the darker shading around there. That can actually shorten the forehead. The other place to put highlighter is on the Cupid's bow. Makes the lips look a bit bigger. If you have a bit of a weak chin and you want to push the chin forward, we can highlight the end of the chin, which pushes it forward. The other thing that highlights is down the centre of the nose. If you want to slim down a slightly wide nose, we put the highlight down the centre of the nose, and it needs to be thin. I mean, I'm going to make that thinner at the end there with the darker colour, because if you do make it too thick, you can actually end up making your nose look wider. With a clean brush, I'm now going to go on to my darker areas. So I'm going to choose a colour that I think is a couple of shades darker. I'm just going to test it. Okay, so to create lovely cheekbones, and everybody wants lovely cheekbones, you have to feel where your cheekbone is, and when it stops, you have a hollow underneath it. So that is where your shading is going to go. It's usually in line with your ear and the outside of your mouth. This is a tip for like slightly older people. If you have a jawline that is starting to slacken with age, everything drops when you get older, unfortunately, we can help to define the jaw with shading. And you just go along that jawline and even slightly underneath with the shading colour. So as you can see, I'm going around the hairline with the darker colour and I'm joining it up with the cheek. So we go either side of the nose with the darker colour, and you will see immediately what this does. And as you can see, I've done the end thinner. That white bit at the end is thinner, because if I don't do that, that's when I could end up. Let's look at that, you can already see what that's going to do. And then I'm going to go across the nostril with the darker colour as well. If you have a long nose, you know, a very long pointed nose, you can just put the darker shade at the end to take away the accent from there. So what's happening is you're going to be looking at this highlighted area, not the darkened area. So I'm actually at the blending stage now. Now you can blend with your beauty blenders. This is my beauty blender. Or you know, you can blend with your brush. The difference is with a beauty blender it sort of goes into the skin more, rather than if you do it with a brush you have to be careful that you don't get lines. And so I'm going to show you a bit of both. I'm going to start to blend, and literally I'm just going backwards and forwards over the dark shading there. Now, if I was to blend away too much, it won't work, it won't do anything. So you do actually have to see it. But there's a very fine line between seeing it and it being stripy. Blending just takes a lot of practice. I'm just finishing off the darker areas. I've done some of it with the brush, but I'm gonna just press it in now with the Beauty Blender because it just makes it nice and flat and really presses it into the skin. I'm now gonna start to blend the lighter highlighted areas. And once again, I'm just patting with the brush. You can actually cheat a tiny bit, just under that, very close to the lashes there with your finger. And you see this is like a slight triangle shape. And then I'm going to blend the highlighted area here. So the thing that is most important is to blend this light into this dark. So what I do is press it along where the dark meets the highlighting area. So I'm literally just doing my final little touch-ups here of the highlighted areas. And like I said, make sure that they blend in to the darker areas, and you can do that just by patting very gently. And you can see that I've just patted down the centre of the nose for the highlighted area and the dark. One other thing that you can highlight, but we often do this with eye makeup really, but if you're not going to wear any eye makeup, we can always highlight just underneath the brow there as well, which makes the brow look really sharp. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set it with powder, and I used translucent, like a light colour, and I'm going to press all over the face to set it. I'm not going to rub, I'm going to press, because if I rub, I can move everything that I've done. So I'm going to press the whole face. Now what I believe is that once I've done that, you will see that within about an hour or so, it will look better because it's actually sunk into your face and the oils in your face come through a little bit, so it looks a bit more natural. You can do this with a puff if you want, you can do it with your Beauty Blender if you want, but I'm just pressing it in with the powder all over her face. So as you can see, I've powdered the whole face, pressed it, not rubbed. What I like to get rid of any loose powder is actually a fan brush. People actually say, what do you use fan brushes for? I think they're so light and gentle, I could brush off any excess powder and it won't move. They're also good for doing little repairs if you get a little eyeshadow drop down there. I really like to make sure that this area here is really well powdered, because I'm now going to put blusher on. It's up to you whether you use blusher on this stage or whether you want to use a bronzer. I quite like that nice pinky blushery look. I think it's really girly and pretty. So this area here, just on the very top of the cheekbone, just along there is the part that I'm going to highlight. So when the light hits it, you can see that it looks really lovely. And I'm doing it with my fan brush just because it's very, very light. I can even do a tiny bit up here. Now, if you was over 40, I would recommend to leave this stage out, because if you do have any like wrinkles or fine lines around here, this is actually like underlining them and saying, look at my wrinkles. It really accentuates them. So, but if you're at your Yasmin's age and you're wrinkle free, go mad with this shimmer. I am actually going along the cheekbone now, and it is joining up to the shading underneath the cheekbone. And I sort of go around the hairline just a little bit. It just warms it all up and joins it together. This is the finished version here, and as you can see, it looks lovely. Yasmin likes her contouring, don't you?
I love my contouring.
Okay, so this is the final look. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you'd like to see some more, subscribe here and share.